Good morning, Saturday morning. You're right here. From some of you, this is part of your routine. For a lot of you, I guess. So we do appreciate that. I got my Halloween coffee mug here. Those people like that. At my house, I guess it's Halloween all the time. So, but yeah, that's like a 2.5 cupper right there. That's a whopper. Not like those little restaurant ones you get in the diners, where you get your coffee in the morning at your breakfast platter, and you're like, "What is this? Is it a shot glass?" So, but no, we do appreciate everybody that comes around every Saturday morning, and this is why we keep doing this show, and we appreciate it. Also, special thanks to I Carry One, if you're watching that. Carry One, basically kind of like an extended family for me. They've just been so helpful with everything, the lighting that you see, a lot of this stuff, the film production, basically just big step up thanks to him, and shedding light, literally pun intended, on a lot of this stuff. So, and taking care of a lot of the technical stuff. All right, we're gonna roll through the comments, and in no particular order. Again, if we didn't read your comment, maybe it was just before or after the fact that we did production on the show, or just maybe it was just too rated R. Okay, so anyway, because we just keep the channel family friendly and all that. All right, so in no particular order, here we go. Stephen K. Just wouldn't be Saturday morning without the radio show. We appreciate that. I agree that Wilson Combat makes great 1911s and parts. I do believe so too. You know what? I'm not trying to promote them in a sense, but I guess I'm definitely going to speak up if a product is good. I do not get anything from them, but I did read his book called The Gun Guy. Highly recommend that. If you like Wilson Combat, you're really interested in that man's work and his legacy and what he's accomplished, read the book, because Bill Wilson, one thing I really gained the ultimate respect for him was that he's self-made. That guy went from ashes to an empire, and that's amazing. And he didn't do it for money. He did it because he wanted a better 1911, and that's a shooter right there, man. That's a guy, and I love the 1911 pistol. I love the fact that he has progressed. Even though a lot of the other stuff I may not be interested in, but the 1911s, and then going and just keep expanding and doing more. So, and of course the magazines are just those things are a standard for me. All right, I have a Springfield Armory mil-spec. Sorry, a little toot on Wilson Combat, right? Yeah. I have a mil-spec Springfield Armory and all Wilson bulletproof parts, and a Kimber with some WC parts. My Colt Government Series 70, however, is bone stock original Colt parts. That's the way to do it. That's the way I do it. Also, my EDC Kimber TLE2 is bone stock, only because I carry it for daily self-defense. Not a lot of people know that. Great show, JW, as always. Awesome stuff. All right. An Angry Ranger. Interesting that many spoke about selling a weapon. I wanted it and wanting it back later. Yeah, I think most of us have done that for sure. There's a few that I've sold that I wish I would have held on to, but oh well. So is life. 3 years ago, I sold my Uberti Richards and Mason 1872 conversion of 1860 Colt Army 5.5 inch and 38 Special to my nephew. Last Saturday, I traded a tricked out Smith & Wesson Model 1014 4 inch with a heavy barrel. I worked on the action, giving it 8-round double action, an 8-pound double action, and 2-pound single action trigger pull. He had been wanting a K-frame Smith, but none he had seen were reasonable. Those are getting kind of pricey now. I handed it to him, and and said I'd like to trade for my Colt conversion. He jumped up and made a beeline to his gun safe, and it was as clean and as perfect as when I sold it to him. We were both happy. sometimes that's a wonderful thing right there. That's a wonderful trade backstory. Getting both people are happy. You know what, and that's awesome. And it's nice to see wheel guns still floating around there. And deep down I love wheel guns. I always will. All right, Mike. We have one from Mike. A supreme exercise of self-control on my part to resist scrolling forward to the Spencer carbine. Hope you show us some range time with it. Great as always, sir. Yeah, we're working on that. That actually belongs to somebody else that lent it to the show, and he is currently working on trying to find some ammo. So that's what we're trying to do, and locate some ammo for it. If anything, we might have to cut some shells down and make some ammo. All right. Actually, yeah, that's what we did. Hopefully everybody had a good Easter, by the way. We were actually in Tombstone, Arizona for Easter and met a lot of fans of the channel down there and everything. So did a lot of really cool meet and greet stuff down there. Yeah, we were down there actually hoping to get the ammo for it, which we saw in a box that was in one of the shops down there, which is a really cool place, by the way. If you've never been to Tombstone, Arizona, it's pretty awesome. We picked up some sarsaparilla. I was going to put the bottle in the background, but obviously we ran out of space. We went down there to pick up a box of ammo for it that he had saw, and as it turns out, it was not for sale because it was going to go with the rifle that they had of the same rifle for sale. So they had to give the rounds with it. So. That's how that went. All right, Danger Man. That Spencer carbine is sweet, and yes, it is. They're very expensive. They are very, very expensive. I now have to watch Unforgiven again. Right. I wonder how many people caught the name of the show from last week and why we called it that. All right, love your Wilson Combat. If I ever wanted a top of the line 1911, that's the one I would get. I would highly agree with you. As you guys know, I do think they make the best on the market. Interesting that you listed as who you listed as experts on the government model. I saw an interview with Larry Vickers. He was in Delta Force operative. He would be stuck in hotel rooms, in wee hours of the morning. Yeah, definitely. I saw the same thing where he's talking about building 1911s in spare time. I would trust his opinion as his real-world experience. That's it right there for me too. It's the guy clearly, he shoots a 1911 like the guy was born with it. And of course, Bill Wilson, look at what he's done. And, to me, Ken Hackathorn. Ken Hackathorn is... the guy literally has a gun, a 1911 out there with his name on it that you can purchase. So, go figure. All right. Slimfire 54, great radio talk show as always, JW. I have to agree with you on Wilson Combat. Bill Wilson is an awesome person and has the best, in my opinion, gun parts, magazines in the business. It's on my bucket list to have one of his 1911s too. Thanks, Slim, and have a nice Easter Sunday. Yes, we did. All right, Big Al, another great radio show to start to a Saturday. Thank you, Big Al. We appreciate that. Lion Quest Fitness. All right. Awesome channel, by the way. I've been pumping out a lot of good revolver stuff over there. So if you love wheel stuff, check his stuff out. His videos get hundreds, thousands of views. It's awesome. There's an old Disney movie from the 1960s where Spencer Repeater played a major role. A band of outlaws get a hold of rifles post-Civil War. Anyone remember the name of the movie? Feel free to chime in. Nobody chimed in. I wonder, those, it's funny back when Disney were making some of those other movies, for saying. A Scottish American, beautiful example of a Spencer rifle. Can see the issues for a lefty for sure. Yes. Heck, everything at my current job is designed for short left-handed people. Makes it challenging for a tall righty. Well, it's just sometimes a lefty. I've had a lot of issues, you know, with being left-handed, and actually just started to, at some point, just start shooting right-handed, really, and you know, it just the way it is, especially because of my love for the 1911 and my distaste for a ambi safety on it. All right. 1911 is such an iconic firearm. Yes, it is. I mean, this the historical aspect of it, and of course, all the cool guys carried them. So, all right, Jeffrey Richardson, great video. Big thumbs up. P.S. Can we get ammunition for that very cool rifle? That is what we are working on. Would be cool if it was in 45 Colts. Yes, it would. Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure. And my friend is a big 45 Colt guy. I carry one. I'd love to have a Spencer rifle. Yes. All right, Jeffrey Richardson video today reminded me to go watch the movie Hunter. Yep. Ralph Thorson. So I love how they kind of made a parody of that where Steve McQueen couldn't drive, because I think anybody knows Steve McQueen can drive better than most. Okay. All right. So what we have today is leather. Figure to change it up. Leather is so cool. Big pile of leather here, and leather is both in the collector market, iconic market, and everything like that. I love leather because it's just old school. I love it. You know, I remember I had a question about leather wear and everything like that. You know what? I mean, it goes with the territory if you like leather and all that. So of course, in movies, you know, iconic movies with leather and all that. Here is, we'll do this first because it's been with the channel since the beginning. This is my John Wayne leather set that I've had forever. Since the channel really began, I've been really featuring this thing. So this is, to give you a rundown on what it is. This here, the belt, which dummy rounds, by the way, sometimes, because these are the dummy rounds that were left in it. Ooh, I should probably remove them. That's turning my leather green. So, but these are the dummy rounds that were given to me when I did reenactment shows and all that. So I was carrying and using this rig for the reenactment stuff. The rig, and I have a video about John Wayne's, you know, rig that I use, which is this and my Rusa shooter with the custom grips I made, and people just uproar about John Wayne wasn't left-handed and that's not John Wayne's belt and all that. I never said it was. I said this is mine. So anyway, the belt is made by Hunter Leather Company. Not to give, you know, a plug or anything on you know, purpose, but the Hunter Leather Company is near and dear to me because they're in Westminster, Colorado, and I used to live in Colorado, and I love Colorado to death. So and they were good people. I actually called them up when I bought this, and they gave me a really good deal on it for being a former Colorado resident and everything. So, and you know, of course, being the Duke and all that. So that's what this one is. You know, it's held up really well over time, and I should oil it. You know, speaking of oiling things, keeping, you know, obviously being out here in more of a drier climate. I've been using this stuff lately. And you can find this. I found it at a shoe store, but then I also realized that Cal's Ranch has this as well. If you have a Cal's Ranch where you're at, they're kind of like a country store. So again, like areas like this, I just daub this stuff on, rather just not even, you know, I just kind of slather it on, and I do that because this stuff really prolongs the leather and keeps it from cracking and all that, because beautiful things like this, you don't want to ruin it. You don't want to get it, you know, where it takes a dive on you, because especially something like this is pretty sentimental at this point because of how long it's been around with me. So, but there's that, and then I got the holster, which is the Duke style holster with the big fat, you know, band going across it right there. And this is made by Galco, oddly enough, Galco, and they're right here in Phoenix, Arizona, so which is actually kind of where we're at. So anyway, there it is. Really cool. You know, this again, you know, has been with me for a long time. on the island doing all kinds of stuff, trekking through everything, carrying this, and that carried my single action. So, of course, here we go. This is, a setup like the movie, what John Wayne carries. Not exactly, but pretty close, close enough to where that's my setup, and of course left-handed. I will never get rid of that. But speaking of a lot of that kind of, leather and all that, I started diving into making my own stuff with a friend of mine. I had some vacation time, and he taught me how to do leather, and of course I just tried my hand in it. Absolutely love doing it because it's a lot of fun for me, and I like designing stuff and creating stuff. So here's just a quick pancake holster I made for myself for a 1911. And this was used by me. I used it for over a year at a job that required me to carry, the firearm. It was a gun range job, so we were carrying a lot of the, this stuff and doing a qualification once a month. So this definitely went with me for qualifications. The snap, we designed everything. We put the stiffener on the back, that way it can, click it through. See, and of course I shoot my 1911 right-handed, so I made it right-handed, and then I did the double stitch on the back of the button so that I didn't have the metal exposed, scratching up my beautiful 1911 and everything. I didn't line this thing or anything like that. I didn't line it, so it's just the way it is. And I started doing my where I chose always oxblood or the maroon stitching kind of became the thing I was doing, or still do. Did a mag pouch too, same thing, just whipped that out real quick and, just did a mag pouch. I also made my mom a wallet for, I think it was for Christmas. I sent her a wallet that I made. So, other people that do make stuff, Pistols and Prayers, I believe they're out of New Mexico. This gal is excellent. She's just fantastic. Here, I'll show you if you can see the... maybe you can freeze that, pause that on the video there. If you ever want to, check her out. She custom made that for me, even put my initials there on the back of the holster. When I first moved out here, this is what I got, and I still use it. And you can see just the quality of the stitching on that and the thickness. When I started getting into this stuff, you can also tell who takes the time to do things right. And she took the time and burnished the edges correctly. That's one thing that when I started doing leather work, that's how you can see. And once you start learning leather work, if you ever dive into it, you can see areas that people cheap out or why they did it a certain way because it's easier to do. Collectible leather. World War II, the flap holsters and stuff like that. This one is done by Grayton and Knight there. These are very collectible now, and this one here, it doesn't have its lanyard thing that was, the swirly, pigtail looking thing on there, but they're marked. And usually they are all dated, so I don't know. This one doesn't have a date. I've had a few of these. This one just happened to be the one I grabbed for this video. But you can always tell too, like they used to put this line right here, this groove, they cut it out, and that was the ease of folding it down. So these things did tend to eat up and crack right here a lot. So again, that's where something like this comes in handy to keep and preserve your stuff. Now this stuff will darken your leather, so be careful, but I'd rather deal with that than have this thing rot away and fall apart, because it's a piece of history and I want to preserve it. And if you have old war horses and stuff, this is definitely a must. And you can see the age. Look at that. Look at those, the rivets and all that. It's just really cool stuff. This is one of the first holsters or first leather things I ever made. And this is a copy of that, really, for my Ruger Mark II. Yeah, I figure we bring, at least you have to bring a firearm out, right? Because, but yeah, this is my Ruger Mark II, standard, nothing, no frills, no thrills. Target, what I use for a target gun. I just liked it because of the way it looks, very James Bond looking. So I've always loved that. Of course, I put my custom grips on it. Got to have my John Wayne yellow grips. But I love this thing, and it's a garbage can for 22s. It'll chew up anything. So I made a holster for it, copied the design with the little, little, I guess what they call that, like the little, button thing there, and did the cut for it. They actually sell the tool to do that, and then I did my stitching on the back here, and actually did the fold over, so it not just plastering it up like that, so. And it's all hand stitched. I did it and burnished the edges and all that. So that's my thing. This is 3 years old now. Did this in 7/18 of 2020. That's gives you an idea when that was the day it was completed. And so I put my initials there, and then of course I stamped it right there. But cool stuff. We were goofing around in a shop one day, and my friend scored these. This is again another Galco, and I think we even paid less for it than that, $14.99 or whatnot. Double mag pouch holder for a 1911. Sometimes leather stuff is so priced so well that you can't turn it down, and this thing is like brand new. It's just too new to turn down and too cheap to turn down. So, and a good quality, Galco, good stuff. And if you know anything about leather and all that, you know that it's like, it's not cheap. The last one on the list we'll talk about is my Dirty Harry rig that I slightly modified, because the way he has it in the movie is the Y strap and all that, so I did that on mine, just kind of adding that to it. But they also sell it like that. It's just my particular model wasn't like that. I just didn't really look at it carefully. Mine is a little slightly different. Mine doesn't have the spring, although I have one with a spring. It's more of a darker color, but this is more. This is the color that's in the movie. But yeah, there's a spring that goes around here, and don't. By the way, if you have one of those, don't spread the spring. People tend to do that and they ruin them. But this one's mine. I like it. I like it without the spring. It's just a quick, it just folds up, and then I think this right here, it straps the gun in if you're worried about that. Right there. This is made by Lawman Leather. Okay, I got this from them. They're the ones that I believe are holding I guess they have the true trademark of the holster or whatnot. They make good stuff. I mean, it's not terrible stuff. They make definitely a good product. I'm happy with it. Some people, they have some controversy. Some people don't like them or whatnot, but I have no problems with them. They make good stuff, and they're the home of the Dirty Harry, holster. So there it is. They did it right and all that. So. If you like the movie Dirty Harry and you own the Model 29, you kind of gotta have one of these. So it's just kind of the way it goes, especially if you like the movie. And that's the romance with me and that film and the gun and all that. So you gotta have it. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to change it up this week and show you some leather and all that kind of stuff, because it's really fascinating to just to have a lot of this stuff. I love leather. I love the way it looks, feels. Nothing else is like it. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff on the market that this and that, but I've always been driven and gravitated to the old school stuff, and I'm the kind of personality that if I don't have an interest in it, I just refuse. I won't learn anything about it. I won't, dive into it or anything. So it's just always just what I'm interested in. Never considered to be an expert or a know-it-all. I know what I like, and the things that I like, it's like I will thrive in it and do everything. Like, for instance, a lot of people have had issues. They always, every time they think of a Mark II or a Mark I or whatever, if it's not the Mark IV, that just hinges open. But I don't like the way it looks. I mean, I like the old school, just sleek and simple look to it. But, it was always that, taking them apart. I have forced myself to basically learn how this works. And I said, I'm going to learn it and make it work for me. And I did. And it's no big deal for me to take these things apart and mess with them. So, that I, again, it's just something because I was driven to learn. I wanted to learn it because it was one of my favorite 22s, and I didn't want to have something I didn't know how to take it apart and make it work for me. So now that I know all that, it's fairly easy for me to do it. But again, it's just it's just not being a know-it-all. It's just being what I'm interested in and what I like. So and I will thrive if I'm interested in it. And it's something I like and it's something I do. I will definitely learn everything about it. So that's just where I'm at. Other than that, I'm quite I just don't don't feel the need to always go into some of the that's what it is, some of these these gun shops, and to kind of share a little bit of my experiences, especially coming from a person that's worked a few of them. The thing that I can't stand with a lot of them is the person. It's usually always the person behind the counter. You very seldom get somebody that isn't, and that's why I gravitate towards a few of the handful of the shops I go to around here, because they're old people, they're older people. I'm sorry, I love them dearly. They are the salt of the earth. They are they've been there, done it, seen it, and they have nothing to prove. Nothing. Because why? Because they already know it, they already think, and they don't need to flaunt it. And that's my favorite kind of people. They're just, but if I go to them and I ask them something, man, they are like an encyclopedia because they know. And that's what it is. They're 2-3 times older than me, and I shut up and I listen, and I try to if there's any kind of information they're willing to give, I'm all ears. I want to learn about it, and they deal with all the stuff I like, so that's it. But it's just that I don't like it when you go into some of these places and there's that aura, that whole thing, and all they know and all they do is just this modern aspect world, and of course mixed in with extreme politics and stuff like that I just it drives me away from it. I usually shut up and I get reserved, and I just don't say anything, and I just kind of walk away or whatnot, because it's just not my world. It's not where I want to be. So I that's just how it is for me. And I'm just old school. I guess I'm old soul. I'm an old soul trapped in a world or a timeline in a world that I feel like I don't belong. I really do. So if there's ever a moment where we got an H.G. Wells machine, I'm sure there's a great handful of you that would jump on there with me, because let's go. So anyway, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming around for the show. Do appreciate all the kind comments, and we keep doing this for you, so we do appreciate it.